Welcome.
We have been trained from kindergarten through high school and even college how to work for somebody else.
Presented to you by...
Some people sit through 25, 30, 40 years of a job that they hate because they don't know another way out. Well, hello and welcome to the Exodus, where our goal is to educate, enlighten, inspire, hopefully move you to your own exodus from the corporate world or a job that you don't like, offering opportunities, options to look at things from a different view, a different lens, a different light, and hopefully inspire you through our experience and the people that we have the pleasure of coming in contact with. I am going to bring on, as I do every week, the person that makes this station possible, Lyndon Wilson with The Difference Radio, Facebook, podcast, live stream, all those different things that you put on into that to make it really long. And Lyndon, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I am mixed feelings, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, I didn't get much sleep last night, so.
Nor did I. And then, of course, my longtime friend of many, many, many years and fellow podcaster, partner in crime, all the things that you want to say, Blake Timmons.
What's up, guys?
Who just recently figured out some technology that he's very excited about, so we're excited for him.
Oh, no, official?
You're official.
We're going to have a party.
So, guys, I went to bed at 8 last night. I feel like I missed something. There's something big in the news? Did something happen?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, it's big in the news, but it's typically business as usual if you think about how the political system's run over the last 60 years.
I know. It's really unfortunate. But what I would, I was hoping to wake up and at least have some semblance one way or another of who our next president is, but it doesn't look like it looks like we might be in for a Florida 2000 scenario without Florida being part of it, but hopefully we'll see how it goes. But either way, no matter who's president, there is ample opportunity. There's ample pathway to change your life, to do a lot of different things from where you're currently at. And that's what this show is about. That's what we are passionate about. And that's what we hope to inspire you guys towards today. We are super excited. We talked a lot about, we've been talking a lot about mindset of an entrepreneur, what the benefit is of starting your own business, owning your own business, why there's such a limited, why supposed security is so fleeting. We have all the evidence to support that, from this big coronavirus epidemic. But we want to talk to people that have, been through this journey, that are successful, to offer their take of what their routine looks like, what they look for in business, how they got involved. And it is my pleasure to welcome onto the show this morning a friend of mine, Sheldon Mallory. And Sheldon, I guess he's having his own technical issues, so we get a nice static profile picture. But hey, that's a great picture, Sheldon. So we're glad you're here with us. It's just one of those days. I don't know what to tell you. But Sheldon, man, first of all, thanks for jumping on with us. We're super excited here over the next couple hours, 1 hour. I want to just start off by asking you to just kind of introduce yourself, your background. I know you got a couple of guys here, especially Lyndon and Blake, that both played football at a higher level, coached football. And I know you had a pretty good career at Baylor. Why don't you start off there, and then we'll kind of transition.
Sure. As you said, my name is Sheldon Mallory. I'm just excited to be here today. Thank you guys for including me and allowing me to be here with you and discuss these topics that are important, I think, to give some feedback. I went to Baylor University, originally from Amarillo, Texas. I'm a Panhandle guy. Tried out for a couple NFL teams. That didn't quite work out. I figured out that I wasn't as good as they were, so I had to allow reality to sit in and get into the real world. And reality set in again there, realizing that I'm probably not your corporate type of guy. I do well in corporate, but I seem to do better as an entrepreneur. So my background is in in finance consulting as well as business consulting. Moving into, it's pretty diverse because I'll jump from finance and business consulting to being a trained chef. And then, so I have a business that does catering as well. And then from there, I am going to leave a little nugget on another business opportunity that I'm not really at liberty to discuss yet, but I think you guys would be very excited to hear once that thing is launched. And then I've done some things in the mortgage brokerage world. I've had companies in the construction business as well. And those have done well. And it's made it very difficult, though I get tugged at by a number of different companies. It definitely has been very lucrative for me. It's work, which most people don't seem to think. They think they can go start their own business and they're not going to have to work that hard. But quite to the contrary, you're going to probably work harder. And if you're not willing to work as hard for a company as you are for yourself, then entrepreneurship probably is not for you. So, so that is a little bit of overview. I have a family, son that's going to Jackson State University. He's a quarterback. He thinks he can throw the ball a little bit. He thinks he can run an offense. So I encourage him. I was a defensive guy, so that's a little bit different for me. I was used to hitting quarterbacks, not so much trying to keep them upright. And so it's been exciting watching him. This is a very opportunistic time, even though we're going through this, I guess you can call it somewhat of a debacle of an election period right now. But this is a very opportunistic time for people to get into entrepreneurship, people to start their businesses. And you have nothing but time on your hands, especially early on in March when the pandemic took place, possibly sooner than that was some people's belief. But this is a time for you to jump in. You have nothing but time on your hands. You can refine yourself. You can ask the questions, and you can actually decide if this is something that you really want to get into.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think, one of the things that we've talked about, and I do want to touch on a little bit more kind of as we work through this, is, no matter what the landscape is from any particular standpoint of, politics or sometimes it does depend on what state you live in, but trying to take your livelihood, your income, your freedom into your own hands, provided that you're willing to do the work that takes, is always going to leave you with more opportunity, more freedom, more control of your journey, of your outcome. And so, Sheldon, when we talked before, when we were kind of preparing for you to come on a week ago, you did have a pretty decent swim through the corporate world, but I think that really spurred you on to jumping outside, taking some of the skills and industry knowledge that you learned, but then applying it for your own endeavors, your own business. So talk about a little bit, if you would, that journey, and then what prompted you to say, this is not for me, but I want to take some of the things that I've learned and start a business in that context.
Sure. I would tell anyone that is doing something that they love, 90% of the opportunities and jobs and careers that I had, I love doing those things. And I was able to utilize those companies and learn from those companies. And that's what allowed me to be able to jump out and say, hey, I can do this on my own. I can pick up the information that I've learned. I can go out and do this. I have a very good network. If you're not willing to network and meet people and you're shy and you're not going to talk to people, then again, entrepreneurship is probably not the thing to get into for you, because you got to be willing to talk about your business and what you can do to help others, not what you can just get out of it, but what you can actually do to help other people. Be smart about it. In my tenure of going into corporate America, I went to a company that hired me to come in as a consultant. And I did an evaluation for them, and then as a business consultant for them, I worked directly for the company. I then moved into an executive vice president role. It was a financial acquisitions company, went in and bought companies as well as their debt and services and things of that nature. And as I moved into those roles, I moved up. I was making great money. My wife at the time was loving life. I was loving life. We were, living high on the hog, if you will, for lack of a better term. But one of the things that I did realize is that I can do this. I can get into this industry and start from the bottom and not take a paycheck for a year and a half and sustain myself as well. Now, it does help if you're married or if you have a partner that's working that can kind of help hold your household. I would definitely say that's going to be important. You got to have a supporting cast behind you and someone that understands what you're trying to do. Savings helps. If you are not a great saver, then you think you want to be an entrepreneur, that's something that you definitely better get into the habit of doing, is being able to save money, put money aside, live at a bare minimum, understand there are expenses that you can cut, like eating out. And I didn't have cable for a while, so that was new to me because, but I realized how much I didn't need it and I didn't miss it. And you better be really willing to read a lot and ask questions and get a mentor. This is a great venue that you have here, guys, is because if you can mentor each other, you can have like-minded people around you. Positive energy is very important. And as I moved out into this world of entrepreneurship 15 years ago, it is the best decision I've ever made. Yes, there is flexibility. You can do things. You find yourself working 24 hours a day almost. I say that tongue in cheek, but it is work. You go to bed thinking about it. You wake up thinking about it. You're talking about it all through the day. You got to be able to process things and eliminate the negative energy and the distractions that would normally keep you from moving forward. And it's a mindset. So you have to get yourself trained. When I moved out of corporate America, I got up, I put my suit on, if you will, minus the tie, every day like I was going to work. That was my first exercise. I got up every morning like I was going to go work for a company. And guess what? I was going to go, the company was me. And so that was my first step into understanding that this thing is much bigger than myself. There are a lot of people that are depending on me. There are a lot of people that you affect. If you will, just vision still water or still pond, and you're the pebble. And if you drop into that water, it's going to create a lot of ripples. And it could be positive, it could be negative, but you're going to affect everyone around you directly and indirectly. So moving into that world of entrepreneurship, I was able to jump in. I wasn't 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I jumped in with both feet, with my mind, understanding that this is the direction I'm going. It was a waterfall methodology, if you will, where I'm going one direction, and this is all I can do, and I better go do it to the max and believe in myself because nobody else is.
That's awesome, Sheldon, man. I love that, man. Honestly, that's an absolute clinic in entrepreneurship. The things that you just talked about. I'm sitting here taking notes, talking about how important it is to have support from the home and for both the husband and the wife to be on the same page that, hey, this ain't going to be easy, right? But it's going to be worth it. How important it is to save money. You better have your finances in order before you take that leap. Man, find a mentor. That is excellent advice. I know that's something me and Nathan put a very high regard on, and just the power of your mindset, the mindset you have to have. I think that's probably possibly the most important thing. That's something we've talked on the show as far as what are the most important virtues, what are the most important things that you need to have to be successful as an entrepreneur. And I wanted to ask you this. Obviously, you played at a high level, extremely high level in football. what do you think in terms of your mindset now? How do you think your upbringing and your experience with football, how do you think that's helped you be successful in the business world? And was that a hard transfer to make?
Well, I had a great support system around me as far as, being married and having a good partner, people understanding and believing in what I was trying to do. One of the things is, if you don't have an understanding demographic around you and people, you're going to have a lot of naysayers. People that are in the corporate mindset, prison in their mind, if you will, where they won't unlock their minds. And I understand entrepreneurship is not for everyone, but people say, well, what if you fail? Well, what if you get fired? What if you get laid off?
Right.
What's going to happen?
The security.
Exactly. They look for that security. And, that's the mindset that I have to stay away from. I have to stay away from those people that are going to think that football was definitely a catalyst in work ethic. It was definitely a catalyst in persevering. Going to Baylor and we didn't have a indoor workout facility at the time. We didn't have some of the luxuries that some of these schools have nowadays. So, and what I go to say that is,
isn't that crazy? I don't even think people listening now are like, that's a luxury. Well, y'all didn't used to have that.
Exactly. And not that Baylor was a bad school. I mean, it's a beautiful school, but at the end of the day, that just was not the concept. It came up in the time of, 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Where I'm going with that is that, you're working outside, you're doing 2-a-days, 3 days, you got the heat beaming on you, you got a coach that may be saying very nice, inappropriate things to you to get in your mind. You got all these things going on. And what does that build? That builds mental toughness. I remember going through our 2-a-days, we would go through 4 periods that represented 4 quarters in a football game. And we thought practice was over. Our coach would come and huddle us up and everything. And we were thinking practice is over. And he said, okay, we're going to overtime, 5th quarter. And you're thinking practice is over. And you want to think about a mind jog or something that's just really messing you up in the head. You're already thinking that you already laid 100% on the ground, on the yard out there. Now he says you got a 5th quarter. You got another 45 minutes of practice or an hour of practice. And you're gonna go through that, and it's already 105 degrees outside, and you're ready to go in. And you didn't know when that was coming, but when that 5th quarter came, guess what? You were ready. When you got into the game, and you look over across from you, and your opponent is huffing and puffing, and you're like, "I got you. I can see it in your eyes. You're ready to quit." And that's one of the things about entrepreneurship is that, it's not going to be people looking in your eyes or someone lined up across from you saying, looking in your eyes saying that you're going to quit. It's life. It's that opportunity. It's the career that you've chosen to go into entrepreneurship that's going to kick you in the teeth. And you're going to have to decide, hey, am I going to get up or am I going to bow out of this? And, that's the thing about it, is that you have to be able to be mentally tough. You have to be focused and disciplined, create a structure for yourself, and make sure that you do have that support. It starts at home. I mean, if you have a family or any significant other or partner in your life, you have to have their support and understanding that you are going to be working long nights. You are going to be putting in a lot of effort. You're going to be doing the same, if not more, for yourself that you would for a company.
Absolutely. Sheldon, like Blake, man, all that stuff resonates with me. The football mentality, sports mentality, not necessarily football, but one of the things that it reminded me of something that has been said a lot. I mean, I've been an entrepreneur for 25 years and worked with a lot of other entrepreneurs. And one of the sayings that I've heard quite often is, I didn't sign up for this. And as an entrepreneur, you sign up for everything, anything and everything, whenever, wherever. And so we have talked on the show, Sheldon, about mindset, how that's important. And I think that going off of what you were just talking about that fifth quarter, about thinking that you've given 100%, practice is over, you can shut it down now, and then all of a sudden you're called to duty again, and to rise up and to finish what you thought you had already finished. That is the typical day, week, month of an entrepreneur. It really is, and sports really does, in my opinion, help prepare for that. The thing that I wanted to talk to you about, and I think that you've touched on it, but I want to get more into it, and that's about having the support group that around you that understands what you're signing up for. And I think what a lot of people don't realize, especially the entrepreneurs getting in, they don't prepare that support group that when I sign up for it, you sign up for it too. Unfortunately, we all are going to sacrifice. Having the mindset and understanding about sacrifice and why that's so important. Let's talk about that and about why a person would choose to be an entrepreneur over staying an employee. And before you answer and talk about that, just understanding the sacrifice, I want to make one last point. I think employees have an unrealized sacrifice. They think they have this security. They think they have this structure. They think they have, but they're sacrificing accomplishment, achievement, things that they will never, ever get working in the corporate world. They're going to get a lot in the corporate world, but there's some things that's going to be left on the table according to their ability. So they're sacrificing this incredible future they could have for the stability that they have being employed. So talk about what the sacrifice that an employee gives, the unrealized sacrifice of an employee versus the sacrifices that we choose to accept by becoming an entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's great. The first thing or the first word that comes to mind is time, right? You will go to work for an employer. You will give them, if you're a salary employee especially, you will go into work and you will give them your time. You'll get there early, you'll stay there late. Your pay is not going to change. You're going to get the same amount of money if you work 8 hours or if you work 14 hours. The thing about being an entrepreneur is that you have an opportunity to give yourself a raise every day. You have an opportunity to create other opportunities, and you have the chance there to change your whole life and your dynamic. It's a paradigm shift in your mind, if you will. Essentially, the things that you have to have around you, and we talk about support and I'm telling you about time. When you're an entrepreneur, you decide when you're going to turn it on and off. You have complete control. You're the janitor and you're the chairman of the board of your company and everything in between. You have to manage that time. You have to understand the importance of your time. You have to also be willing to know when to cut it off. There is a work-life balance that you have to create that you don't get necessarily in the corporate world. If you are making $120,000, $130,000 a year, they're not going to understand when you tell them, no, I can't do this. I got to go to my son's football game or my daughter's soccer game or cheer event or whatever it may be. They are getting a little bit more flexible in the corporate world. They are allowing you to have some work-life balance. But the thing about it is everybody's gone remote, right? And if you get an experience of, you're working remotely from home, you are actually getting a little bit of taste of entrepreneurship. You get to work at home. You get to do some dishes. You get to cook a little food, do a little laundry, run a few errands, get back to work. But guess what? Your pay is not going to change if you're in corporate America because you're going to be putting more hours in place. And that's why they like this remote stuff. And they're saving money because they're not having to pay for overhead of a building or office space. They're using your internet service that they may give you a $50 rebate on. They're using your cell phone. You may get the company's laptop. So those are the things that are happening. They're not paying for your gas, even driving to and from work. They're not paying for the maintenance and the mileage on your car or your vehicle. all those expenditures are coming out of your pocket. Well, guess what? I get to write a lot of that off, in my world as an entrepreneur.
That's kind of what I was talking about the unrealized sacrifice. A lot of these employees have the same expenses that an entrepreneur has. They just don't have the same advantages that go along with it.
Exactly. And, being a small business person or a mid-sized business person, one of the things that you get to do is you can control and minimize your expense. There are times where I was just a one-man operating system, and if I wanted to go out to lunch, I grab, Nate and say, hey, let's go to lunch, and we talk some business, and I get to write that off, right, and spending my time. In corporate America, you're not writing anything off. There's no tax benefit. They might give you a credit card, or they may just tell you to turn in a dang expense report that you hate keeping up with receipts and writing dates and all that type of stuff. And, they reimburse you for it. But that's probably the maximum expenditure you're going to get. There's not even, I haven't even mentioned travel. If you have a job that you're doing 50 to 80% travel, I've been there. I've been in that role, and you're away from your family and you're gone 3 or 4 days out of the week. Let me ask you, are you trying to spend much time with your family when you get back, or are you trying to rest and get ready to hit the road for next week? That piece is taken away from you as well, working in corporate America. Again, you have complete control. You decide how successful you're going to be as an entrepreneur. And most of us, we want to maximize our strengths. We want to maximize our opportunity. We want to maximize our compensation. And sometimes you're limited at that. I remember when I took a sales position, a business development position for a company. And when I started there, they were a mid-sized company. It had uncapped commissions, right? They give you this, $40,000, maybe $50,000 salary and hang that over your head and say, hey, this is to cover your costs. And then when you start doing well, guess what? You blow it out the water. Oh, we need to change the compensation plan.
That has happened to me so many times.
You're making You're making too much money, Well, if I'm making too much money, you're making much more than that, because I'm just a tick on the elephant's butt compared to the amount of money that they're in there.
It's not really uncapped, right? They know exactly how much they want you to make, and they're going to change the numbers to make sure that's about how much you make, no matter how much work you put in.
Exactly. And you're going to meet that grind, and you're going to grind it out, and you're going to try to meet their numbers and their quotas. And it's never good enough. Well, that's okay. That's what they're supposed to do, right? Well, why don't you do it for yourself?
Let me interrupt you real quick. You just made me think of something. In football, we know where the goalposts are, right?
Correct.
We know what our objective is, and we know what we have to do to win. Is that one reason, Sheldon? I know it is for me now that I'm thinking about it, and Blake, you're probably the same way. Why we struggle in corporate America, because the goalposts are constantly moving, and we can't ever seem to claim that victory that we've worked and prepared so hard for.
No, you know what? You're exactly right. They keep moving the bar, and there's this. You're looking up, and you can see the top of the mountain, or you can see the top of the corporate ladder, but you forget, that it's called a glass ceiling.
Yep.
And then they're going to move the bar, and you're just never going to feel like you can reach it. And at some point, you get a little bit upset about it. I tell people that if you're working 100% commission type job, you are working for yourself.
Yep.
You all you're getting from your company are the resources, so they say, that you already have at home. You already got your own laptop or computer. Most people do. Most professionals do. You already have your cell phone. You already have your vehicle. You already have a place in your home, whether, I don't care if it's the kitchen table or you have a nice elaborate office. You have all of those things available to you, and you already have the knowledge of how to go out and be the hunter. And, hunters are great as entrepreneurs. You know, you go out, you hunt it. You know, what do you do in hunting? You go scout the land. You find your prey. You kill your prey. You skin it. You cook it. You serve it. You eat it, and then you go do it again. Well, that's entrepreneurship every day.
Amen.
And if you're working 100% commission, you're an entrepreneur. You just get the fancy title and let's say maybe a corporate backing that you feel is supporting you.
Yeah.
Take that away, and you're doing the same thing for yourself.
You're an entrepreneur without the freedom.
Exactly.
But you get
Yeah,
the nice benefits, though. Remember, don't forget about those.
Yeah.
What's that, Nate? What'd you say?
I said you get that nice benefit package that has continually eroded over time, I think, in corporate America.
You know, I have a friend that, you know, he works in corporate America, and he's been talking to me about entrepreneurship for, gosh, maybe 10 plus years, 15 years. He said, I want to get out and do it. You know, I envy you. And, you know, I said, man, don't envy me. You know, the only difference between you and me is that you talk about it and I do it, you know. And, you know, I have a friend that, you know, he says you can be a fixing to person, you can be an about to person, or you can be I'm a do it person, you know. And all the fixing to do it, and I'm from West Texas, so excuse my fixing tos and things like that. But you can be a fixing to person.
Show, we're all about fixing tos.
Or you can be I'm about to.
Yeah.
And guess what? That thing never comes to fruition. You never get it done. It's like telling your wife you're going to clean the garage out and you can't park but one car in that thing. You say, well, I'm going to clean it out. She says, that's fine. You don't have to clean it out, but guess who's going to be the only car parking in that garage? You know? So, you know, people have to, you know, I used the term, Blake, the other day. I call them, you got to be a PhD, right? You got to be poor, hungry, and driven. Yeah. That's what PhD is to me. I don't care if you're making $500,000 a year. The minute that you lose that edge and you think that you've arrived is the minute that that company will pull the rug from under your feet. And if you haven't planned properly, you're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah. Sheldon, let me ask you a question real quick. I want to get your take on this. A lot of people get into entrepreneurship for the pursuit of what they perceive as amount of money, revenue that they want to generate. And they seem to always be chasing an object sometimes that they can't ever catch. How important is it to have not just the revenue goal, but the creation of a business, of a reputation, of what to produce something of value, and create a process to stay that poor, hungry, and driven mindset that you're talking about? How important is that? Because I see a lot of entrepreneurs fail because they're chasing a dollar amount, and at some point in time they go, this work is not worth that. But the ones I see succeed are chasing a dollar amount. True, they want that, they have value there, but there's more to why they created that business. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, Lyndon, that's a great question. You have to have your own measure. You have to have a measuring rod of what you consider to be successful. Everybody has that. They want to put a monetary value on it. That's good. It's okay to put a monetary value on it, but you have to be more than just about making money. You know, people say, well, and I'm not saying that you start a business not wanting to make money. You know, I've been a part of organizations that were nonprofit that were very profitable, that did well, but their vision wasn't to make money. It was to impact and leave a legacy and be service oriented and actually give back. You know, if you make a fist, the problem with a fist is you can't put anything in it and you can't take anything out of it. You know, that's the problem with a fist. You know, Warren Buffett has a mentality of trying to give, and Bill Gates, these are all entrepreneurs. You know, we all know they're entrepreneurs that now started big corporate businesses, but they have an open hand. You know, you have to be willing to give. And I'm not talking about just from a monetary aspect, but you have to be able to give and pay it forward, if you will, in order to continue to be successful, in order to have an understanding of why you do this every day. You know, I have a mentor. His name is Jack Smith. He's down in Houston, and he didn't mind me dropping his name. But he brought when I started in the entrepreneur world. He said, "Sheldon, what's your burn?" And I said, "Burn? What are you talking about?" And he said, "Well, what gets you going every day? What's your motivation? Is it money? What is it?" And I said, I mean, I hadn't really thought about it. Now I was about 26, 27 years old at the time, and he said, "Well," he told me, "Well, my burn is." When I was a kid, I used to always have to wear short pants to school, and I got made fun of. You know, we call them floods or whatever. And I don't want to ever have to wear short pants ever again. He was poor, you know, had hand-me-downs and things. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's a lot of people that make money that, you know, live off thrift and minimize, you know, they choose where they want to put their dollars. But that was his burn. You know, whenever he would start slacking, you know, his wife even held him accountable. You know, that's one of the things about a support system. You know, you better be ready for some constructive criticism and accountability, you know, but she would tell him, hey, you know, looks like we're both going to be wearing short pants because you're being kind of lazy and you ain't getting out. We're not going
That's true.
Yeah. You know, so, and she said the only difference between her wearing short pants and him wearing short pants is that women call them capris so she can get away with it. You know, he's going to have to walk around that way. And, you know, I had to think about that. So what is my burn? I came from some pretty humble beginnings. You know, I looked and I saw how hard my mom and my stepdad worked. You know, my stepdad was a blue collar guy, military, retired military for 22 years, retired master sergeant out of the Air Force. Tough guy, very disciplined, very structured. He helped me create my burn because it got to a time where at 10 years, I'm about 6'5", about 250 pounds. And my stepdad is 5'10", 165 pounds. And he got to a point where he's like, you know, spanking this guy ain't going to work anymore. So let me discipline him a different way. And what he did was he had me do some work. Whenever I got in trouble, all right, let's go do some work. And it was the type of work that I knew I did not want to do. Right. Mm-hmm. There's a type of work that said, okay, you need to go to college or go to the military or go to a trade school. You need to pick something up because if you don't want to do this type of work, then you better do what you need to do and handle your business. That was my burn. I don't want to have to go back and do those type of things. There's nothing wrong with it. Some people love doing the work that I did. That's their passion. That's what they really love to do. I don't. I want to be in the air conditioner. I want to work at have some nice posh stuff, and I don't mind getting out there and, you know, smiling and dialing, knocking on doors, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing whatever I got to do. But I also know that if I don't want to be the leg worker, if you will, I better get out there and do what I need to do on a day-to-day basis. So when I look at my living arrangements and the nice things that I have, and I know that those things will be taken away if I don't get up and do what I need to do. I don't live a big lavish lifestyle. I try to save as much as possible. You know, and then, you know, Lyndon, you were saying something. One of the other things is reward yourself, you know, on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. You know, I enjoy a cigar. I smoke cigars.
Amen.
But I know I can't go have a cigar until I've gotten something accomplished, right? So I give myself a goal and I say, okay, I get up at 5:30 every morning. I do some quiet time meditation, and then I get to work. And I know by 10:30 or 11 o'clock, which you guys have impeded on, by the way, I would like to go have a cigar. But if I haven't reached that goal and if I haven't hit that number, whatever it is, no cigar for me, you know. I enjoy cheesecake. You know, by the end of the week, I work out still. But if I haven't done what I needed to do, I don't get to eat cheesecake. I don't get to go out to eat. And some people may say, well, that's not a very big reward. Well, take it away from yourself and then ask yourself how bad you want it. You know,
you don't look like you eat a lot of cheesecake, so that's a good thing.
Well, that means I probably haven't been hitting my goals like I need to. I had to do it in moderation now, Nate. I mean, I hit my numbers, but now I probably spend more time rewarding myself with a cigar than I do with cheesecake. Which,
if we're going strictly by appearance, I might be the most successful business person in the world.
That's a great point.
Well, they say that you can measure a man's success by his Buddha.
That's how it was back in the old days, right? All the kings were the only fat ones. Everyone else is working, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going with the Italian model where the fattest people are successful. And, no, but actually, it's only kind of funny. I'm actually losing weight, so
I can tell.
Well, thank you. Hey, I want to take it a slightly different direction, and I again appreciate you jumping on, man. You've been, some of the things that we've been talking about. It's nice to hear someone besides ourselves just kind of put that into practice, and your experience with just the discipline it takes. But one of the things we talked about when we were kind of preparing for the show is, you've had your hand currently. You had your hand currently in 3 or 4 different businesses. You've had different ones. Most have been successful. You said you've had a few that weren't successful. But when you get ready to, because you've outlined why you wanted to be an entrepreneur, but when you get ready to look at a business or step into an industry, or you get this, light bulb idea that this might be something worth pursuing, what's the checklist kind of for you to determine this is something I want to dive into?
The first thing is, do I believe in it? I've had several people that have brought business opportunities to me, and they want me to join them and do things, and and I have to, and they're not really prepared to present it to me, but they present it to me anyway. So I have to believe in it. I have to be prepared and do my research, and then lastly, need. What is the need? When I'll use my catering business, I cater to a specific group. I'm not chasing weddings and graduations and things of that nature. I'll do those, but it's not because I went out and looked for them. People have now referred that type of business to me. I look for a niche. So I went into car dealerships. And as I was telling Blake and Nate, Linda, the other day, going into car dealerships, I realized that on Saturdays, that's their busiest day of the week. They don't want any of their people, sales, service, receptionists. They don't want any of them to leave. That's their busiest day. So what do? They provide lunches. Well, I think every human is lazy by nature. So I'm looking for the least pathway of resistance on how to gain that business. And by going in and speaking to these guys, I learned that their most difficult challenge is deciding what they're going to order every Saturday for their employees. So I could take that off your hands. I got a menu about as thick as a phone book. Now you probably can't afford everything on there because they got a set price of what they're going to be paying. But I create a menu for it, and I can make that decision for you. And so I take a few samples over to them, and they like the food, and then they hire me. And then so this is one of the things, Nate, is when you get into it. Now that you've allowed me to whet your taste buds, if you will, for the culinary experts that may be listening, I have now want to sink my tentacles into you to where you're not going to call Jimmy John's or Chick-fil-A or order pizza. I am going to ask for exclusivity. I'm going to take that off your plate. I'm going to do it for you. Now all of them get the same thing every Saturday. I shoot them an email and say, this is what we got going on today. Just want to let you know. They put their credit cards on file with me. Trust is another thing. They got to trust you, right? You got to make sure that what you're doing is going to be at high integrity, and they're going to trust you, and the food is good. But anytime you're feeding people, automatically they trust you. They don't know what you do if you're cooking out of your house or if you got a designated kitchen. I have a designated kitchen, a catering commissary kitchen, if you will, and they don't know what you have, right? They just know that the food that they tasted that day was good. Well, get in there and, believe in what you're doing, be prepared. I didn't just walk up to them and I wasn't prepared, and make sure there's a need, eating is like toilet paper. Everybody needs it, so you find something like that. And, of course, and I'm kind of poking at the pandemic, with the toilet paper thing, but go out and identify that. And, there's some things that you don't have to try to recreate. You don't have to, the wheel has already been invented. You don't need to try to reinvent the wheel. You just go out there and work it. And customer service, I don't care what business you're in, you better be very high on customer service. You better be willing to, what I say, have the touch. You got to touch people, right? Everybody wants to feel good. I can feed you some bad food and I look at Blake's face and he frowns up and he's like, he might, I don't like black licorice. So Blake may say, that's black licorice. Don't come back. Right. So I have to make sure that I bring something that's going to be serviceable, taste well. And I'm using these analogies to food, but this is in real life. People have to, who do you buy from? Lyndon, you buy from people you like.
Know, like, and trust.
Yeah. I got a buddy who sells Jaguars and Range Rovers. He don't have to sell that car. You walk in there and the car sells itself.
Right.
But who are you going to buy from? There's 50 different salespeople in there. They could pick any one of them. They're going to buy the one that they like and they trust, like you're saying, Lyndon. That goes for pretty much anything. I go to the Nike store. I don't need you to come sell me some Nikes. You got all these displays up on the wall. Now you got the internet. All I got to do is find something I like, and all you need to do is go get me the shoe and try it on. You ain't got to sell anything. But I got to like you and appreciate what you're trying to serve, that you're servicing me,
If they make you feel special and important, that's the person that you're going to buy that type of stuff from. Sheldon, I got a quick question for you, and it's not really changing gears, but it kind of is. Another thing that I have, in doing this show, it really brings my attention to a lot of things, but one is just opportunity. And you mentioned something. You went to you're in the catering business, and you went to the car dealership because they buy lunch for the employees on Saturdays, and you realize that was an opportunity for you. How important is it for an entrepreneur, especially someone just coming in, to understand that they've got to have a wide vision of opportunities that they may not necessarily have thought of in the beginning? And what I'm talking about is I see so many, I work with a lot of real estate agents, and they have such tunnel vision on the opportunity they want that they miss a lot of other opportunities that are available because they're only searching for one thing, right? It's like looking for a nugget of gold in a diamond mine. Right. They don't see the wealth and the value that's all around them because they're searching for gold. Does that make sense? Does that analogy make sense? And how has that helped you be so successful that you can see unique opportunities that maybe others can't?
The idea of real estate or whatever business you're in, you have to think about it all the time. One of the things, I was taking my son out and just riding bikes. He would go to the park and ride a bike, and there'd be some other dads or parents out there. And I would go out and talk to him. I wasn't thinking that I was going to drum any business up from him, but I still was thinking about business. Ask the guy, hey, what are you doing? What do you do? And he tells me. I say, okay. Well, this is what I do. And I'm not, the approach is, what can I do to help you?
Yeah.
In your business? As a real estate agent and brokers, you're going out, whether you're in the commercial world, whether you're in the residential world. When I was in the construction world, I did a lot of rehabs in residential and commercial properties. And when I go in there, everything became a box to me. It was just four walls. I would walk in, I'd look up and down, and I'd find these issues going on in the house. And then they would give me a laundry list of things they wanted done. And then I would say, okay, that's great. But can I give you some information? And I start educating them on those things are important, but this is not going to sell your house. This is not going to increase the value of your house.
Right.
These gold doorknobs that are hideous now, and I hope I'm not offending anybody, but guess what?
I got gold doorknobs all over my house.
Yeah, bronze. If your house, you're not trying to sell it right now, but brushed nickel and bronze is the way to go right now.
That's right.
Yeah.
Gold is so 90s. I mean, let's
watch it, Nate. But I go to say, even colors in the house. And so, you go to Home Depot as a real estate agent. I don't know how many real estate agents go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever the big box store is. When I walk in there, and if I see people, when I was in a general contractor and I see people buying paint, that to me was an opportunity. Like, you're going to paint your own house? How, what color are you painting? Oh, this color? Oh, okay, that's great. Have you ever done it before? No, this is my first time painting. Okay, well, let me tell you something. And just say, I'm not even going to pitch them on what I do. I'm going to say, let me give you some advice on how this could possibly help you out. And Lyndon, I don't know if I'm answering your question completely or not, but the main thing, I guess, is going into an open mind and understand and recognize opportunities is thinking about the opportunity as often as you can, thinking about what you do, but not what you can get out of anybody, but what can you do to help them.
That's amazing you just said that, because the notes that I took down is listening to you is when you go in with the vision and the mindset that you're going to seek out the opportunities you have to serve a particular person or a demographic. Your opportunities are going to be increased. But if you're looking for ways that community can serve you, then you're always going to be limited.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's awesome.
I mean, if I'm a real estate agent, I'd probably live in Home Depot. I mean, people don't probably think about that. But if you got people in there, what is it? What is Home Depot and what is Lowe's? They are home improvement stores, right? Why are they trying to improve their home? Why are they trying to put a new fence up? Why are they trying to paint the house? Why are they putting mulch in the yard?
That's genius.
It's not just seasonal stuff.
Right.
I mean, gray is the new popping color in the real estate world, right? Gray walls. People are painting gray. Especially if they're putting up new baseboards and things like that. Why are you doing that? What? Asking that simple question and not being too intrusive, right? You don't want to make them feel like you're just getting all up in their business, but at the same time, be conversational and be genuine.
Yes.
And just say, hey, you're going to paint that puke green. So you're staying in that house. No, actually, we're trying to sell it. Really? Okay. Well, have you put it on the market yet? No. I said, tell you what, I want to help you out. I am a real estate agent, but I'm not looking for you to sign with me. I would like to come by for free, do a consultative walk through your house and tell you exactly what will help you improve the value of your home. If you see something of value that I told you, please take advantage of it. If you don't have a real estate agent, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I don't want to represent you and see if I can help you. But at the same time, I'll walk away from you. This is me trying to help you get your home sold.
That is awesome. That is incredible. I know thousands of real estate agents that need to hear exactly what you just said, and just thinking outside the box of where to go, where to go and find the people that you can serve, rather than just putting blanket. You know, I'm looking for referrals. I'm a real estate agent all over social media. Yours requires a little bit more effort, but it's a lot more genuine.
Yeah, you know, the thing is as an entrepreneur, if you think you're going to make it and be successful by sitting up in the ivory tower, you're sadly mistaken.
You're right.
Yeah.
In some sense, it's almost like, you know, because we talk about with what Blake and I do, you know, when you're building a business, you got to have people, right? Whether they're working with you, working for you, you know, you're growing. Like, you know, we're opening up multiple agencies, and I know you have some people that work with you in your different companies as well. But on the flip side of that, when you talk about treating people with kindness and respect, always looking for those opportunities to invest more in them than you expect them to invest in you, in a sense, you're broadening your reach, because they may not do business with you, but they're going to remember that interaction. So in a sense, you have people working. You know, you have people that aren't necessarily associated with you, but they're associated with an experience or a good feeling or trust, like Lyndon talked about. And now you know, next time somebody, you know, I didn't use him, but man, we had a great experience, and he offered to, you know, give me some tips on fixing up my house. Let me give you his number. I think you'll really like him. And it's the same concept, you know, the same way you treat the people that work with you or for you. If you treat your customers, the same people that come, potential customers, or just people you come in contact with, you're getting that same experience and that same opportunity, just kind of a different return on that investment. But they're both extremely valuable.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly. You know, being genuine and being open and just honest, you know, that still takes you a long way.
Amen.
Well, let's do this. We got about 4 minutes, and you know, now we have my camera seems to be broke. Sheldon's camera's broke. It's just it's a perfect 2020 type of a scenario we have here. It's very crazy year, but whatever. I
would just like to point out, after all the crap that I took last week for all my technical difficulties, I don't know what the crap's going on with you right now, Nathan.
Yeah, who would have thunk that Blake Timmons is the one that all of the technical issues were eliminated?
Hey, I had issues last week. I learned from it. I got better. I'm impeccable this week.
Adapt and overcome. That is what an entrepreneur does.
Overcome. That's right.
Let me point out who Blake Timmons had to call to get that technology set up right before.
That's irrelevant. It doesn't matter who you learn it from, as long as you learn it.
Yeah, I don't know what that has to do with anything. Because I don't even. Is your volume even good this week? It's all jacked.
It's not just his camera. His microphone sucks. But I noticed his camera went out when we started talking about body shapes and sizes and things like that. And he put this picture up of him, just this felt, you know, just this really. Anyway, never mind, Nathan. My bad.
Guess which finger I'm holding up.
No clue.
Number
Stop
one.
picking your nose. Stop picking your nose.
Right. Well, now that we've digressed into whatever that was, Sheldon, I want to take a moment just to thank you for jumping on with us today and really bringing some valuable insight and experience. And I will be joining you in just a little while at our favorite watering hole, which is more of a not watering hole, but whatever, you know what I mean. And, you know, one thing I really took away from what you said, such great content. And what I'd like to do is just have you guys give a couple quick thoughts, Blake and Lyndon, on what Sheldon shared. But for my takeaway, I really did like what you say about, you know, getting up early. Obviously, that's a must. I mean, that's something we've talked about before. But rewarding yourself kind of throughout the day on those little things, like I've got to accomplish this goal, or I'm not doing this. And I think that's something that I can get better at. And you know, because we've shared a lot of what you've talked about, and seeing you put that into practice and having the success you have has been great. But I really do like the almost granular look at each day. Like, what do I have to do to get better today? What is my, you know, what's my goal by 10 o'clock? What's my goal by this evening? Whatever the case may be. So that was my big takeaway. And I appreciate, again, you jumping on. Blake and Lyndon, Blake, take us away. Final thoughts, and then Lyndon, close us out.
I'll let Blake close us out. I'll give my final thoughts. I want to see how, now that Blake's got all of his stuff up, he needs to be rewarded, and he can close us out. So I love these conversations, Sheldon. Iron sharpens iron. I love talking to other entrepreneurs. I like getting the feedback. I like knowing that the struggles that I'm going through are not unique to me. That everybody that jumps into this world of entrepreneurship, we're going to face the same challenges. And sometimes it's fellows like you and I and Blake and Nathan that get together, and we can be that support group that we can say, it's kind of like that football team. When you're running sprints and you're the one about to die, and your other buddies say, man, you can finish this, and they won't let you quit. So I appreciate, it's great meeting you. I hope to talk to you more at some other point, but I really appreciate all you had to say today.
Thank you.
Blake, it's you, buddy.
Yeah, absolutely, Sheldon. Thanks so much for being on the show, man. You brought a ton of value today. I got just a ton of notes here that's going to be able to just take and apply to our business. But going back to one of the things you said in the beginning about the coach says practice is over with, or you think it's over with, and then you got to go that extra mile. Most people have no idea what max effort is because they've never had to give it. And you apply that to the entrepreneurship world. Most people don't give their max effort at the real job. They go into the entrepreneur world, and it's going to require their max effort. And so I love what you said, though. You said, what's your burn, right? A lot of times I'll say, what's your why? I think it's the most powerful thing on the planet, learning what your why is. Because if your why is strong enough, the how will reveal itself. And so it's so important to learn what that is. And so thanks so much just for all the value you brought to the show, Sheldon. We sure appreciate it. Next week, actually, we're going to do it this week. Sheldon brought so much value and so much content. We're actually going to talk about if you are thinking about being an entrepreneur, and this conversation that we had today is appealing to you and looking for more freedom and just a chance to make a bigger impact, we're going to talk about, if you want to be an entrepreneur, what are the top 5 things that you have to give up? They're holding you back right now. These are the top 5 things you're going to have to give up to make that happen. It's going to be a great show. It'll be 2 weeks. The same time. Thanks so much, guys, for turning into the Exodus, powered by the difference. Thanks so much, Sheldon, Lyndon, and Nathan. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The Difference is a proud supporter of the following nonprofits. Creek and Timber Legacy, providing outdoor learning, hunting, and firearm therapy for veterans, first responders, and children with serious illness. You can find more info at creekandtimberlegacy.org. And Sharp Shoes. Through local schools and shelters, Sharp Shoes helps provide new shoes for countless needy people and their families. You can find more info